We are looking at every single option that's out there. There's nothing that is not on the table. Everything's on the table. Lethal methods and non-lethal methods. And we've divided up the assignment into 3 different sections. The section that I have is exploring the birth control method. Now presently, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Wildlife, does not allow and permit birth control unless it is driven by a university study that has never been done before, and you as a city, we have to apply to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for them to permit this if it were to take place. So what I did was I reached out to the PZP testing experiments that have been going on. PZP is a pig protein, and it's been used for over 25 years with wild mustangs, and also in some zoos they use it to control the population of the animals within the zoo. And it's not a hormone. What it is, it's a protein just like having an allergy shot. They inject it into the deer, and it creates a hardened shell around the ovum so that conception cannot take place. And in the past, they've had to inoculate the deer the first year twice, and then every year after that a booster. This is a new experiment. This is a new formulation of it, where they would dart the deer, and most departments of natural resources require them to put the deer to sleep. One ear would have a tag with a number on it for that deer, identifying that deer. The other ear would have a tag identifying it as being an animal that is under research, do not consume, call this number first, and he would be calling right into the researcher. And it's not for the PZP that they're giving it, but it's the medicine that they use to put the animal to sleep. They put the animal to sleep, they give the animal another injection that keeps the animal from moving its legs, and then they check the health of the animal, they weigh the animal, they check the tooth to see how old the animal is, and then they inject it by hand. That's done once. 3 years later, they give it another shot. And how do we know that it's 3 years later? Because they have the tags in the ears, and you can tell. So this is a different experiment. We don't even know if the Department of Natural Resources would even permit it. So right now we're in the very preliminary times. 2 weeks ago we did have visitors from the Humane Society of the United States and from Tufts University, the veterinarian department here, and the directors of the different departments were here in Avon Lake, and we spent over 6 hours with them, and we walked all over Avon Lake, and we drove over Avon Lake in the hot spot areas for them to assess whether they thought that there was first of all, a deer control problem, and they did identify that we have between 250 to 300 deer. They said yes, this is definitely an area that they would be interested in. Now they have to present us with a proposal. The proposal will not only be a timetable of what would happen, but also the expenses that would be involved. And they would be shared. There's 4 parts to it. Tufts University would pay for part of it. Humane Society of the United States would pay for part of it. The city would pay for part of it. And then they're looking for the citizens to come up with a donational part of it, so that there's involvement on the grassroots level. We don't know what the target numbers are yet, so that has to be determined. But before any of that's determined, Council has some homework to do. Council has to come together along with the administration, and we have to identify what are our goals. What is it that can be measured? Do we want to have less car accidents? Do we want to have less property damage complaints? What is it that we want to have taken place, and in what timetable?